All right, so let's go to September 23rd, 2025. I got home from the specialty hospital. They didn't send me home with any medications or supplies. I didn't have any phone numbers of home health care or like wound care providers. So I had to start from scratch. And so, it was just like I got home early. Well, yeah, I got home about 10:30. And so after getting home, I kind of got comfortable. Yeah, I got comfortable with the family. We chilled out. Basically, celebrated in a real chill way. And so 24th comes and I'm having to get on the phone and try to get medications, all my supplies that I needed. And so everything, like the 24th, the 25th, same old phone tag with everybody that I needed. The 26th came and went to my main hospital, got my catheter done, and so it seemed like that was the fulfillment that I needed to be home successfully. And so I wanted to at least do something fun, post content. And so I was able to do that. I did a DJ gig and it was okay. It was all right. So, it was a little challenge, but coming home was bittersweet. Before I came home, I had an idea of what I wanted to do. I had planned on doing like some rehab, so that way whenever I got back home, I'll be ready to be home. And the plan was, it started off with like, be 100% healed up, and it's like whenever I got the word of when, like an approximate time that I'll be leaving, I would be like, yo, let me roll onto my back and get the fatigue out. You know what I mean? So that way I can get back home and continue where I came from. How I continue living a quality life like I was living before I needed to go to the hospital in the first place. And so, with that being said, it's like I needed to lay on my back for a period of time, to see if I would have spasms. And I was supposed to work out that bug. And then I would sit up was supposed to have been sitting up like I would when I was gaming or eating or, brushing my teeth. And, I wanted to build my body up, but that wasn't that wasn't in my cards. Come to find out that the facility that I was with needed to recertify my visits every 30 days with my insurance. And so, as far as having a peace of mind, that shot out the window. One of the keys to healing up is, having a positive frame of mind. And so, that kind of bugged me that at the end of each month, we have to go through the process of being, qualified to stay in the place where I was at and to continue healing. So in the back of my mind, I knew that it was going to be, an iffy thing about whether I was going to be able to heal up 100%, into which I didn't heal up 100% by the time, I got the notice of when I was getting kicked out. And so that process, was a kicking ass. One of the things about coming home was, leaving the facility was that I needed to find another facility that I could go to finish my healing. And I had a choice between short term or long term. And so, I got a list of places, and my family was supposed to go out and, check out these places. Well, my caseworker, she came and told me that I was not able to go to any of the facilities because of some bullshit that was in my records. And I had to frown on that because, for one, as soon as she found out, I was supposed to know. It's like she was supposed to come and tell me. You know what I mean? So that way I can try to nip it in the bud. And that didn't happen. So I'm looking at this woman, I'm like, I'm already on some, me and you ain't really talking. We don't communicate well type of vibe. And I was like, well, she went and did the homework that me and my family was supposed to do. And so it's like, first of all, when I found out that, I had some type of record shit, I had called up my insurance provider thinking that they are the ones that chose to do a background check. And, I was thinking it's some odd shit because I've been able to live my life freely without anybody telling me I had some bad records, some bad history on my records. And so, come to find out that my insurance didn't call for a background check. It was the other facilities. And so I asked my caseworker, which facilities did she call? And she told me she'd come back. And of course she didn't. Several times I've asked her to get some information. She either didn't come back or she came back like 1 to 3 days later. So I'm sitting there like, okay, we're down to the last week, and she comes in and she says, well, here's like 3 to 4 places that said they might take me, but I needed to contact them, and then I needed to contact my insurance. So I contacted my insurance, and the only thing they needed to know is which place I wanted to go to and whether it was going to be long-term or a short-term type of place. That was a simple thing. But on my end, my family, they chose for me to be at home. And so I ended up going home. And it is what it is. I was glad to be home. Glad to be around the family. And it was okay. It was okay until I started having issues with my spasms and issues breathing. You talk about a kick in the ass. So I was already feeling like my time had been wasted since I wasn't, yes, thank you. Since I wasn't 100% healed up. I was like, what's the use of even coming to this place if I wasn't going to be, guaranteed a 100% healing? And it's one of the questions I asked before I came, like how long would I be able to stay? And of course, one place that's willing to get rid of me is going to tell me basically what I want to hear. And so, it was disappointing. But for me to be back full circle with my spasms and my problems with breathing, man, it's like a whole nother story. Yeah, who knew? Can of worms. All right, so I had been laying on my back majority of the whole week, my first week back home. Been laying on my back, no issues, just chilling, doing things I wanted to do. I have my mouse on my chest, have my headphones, I'm fucking around with my content on my channels, and streamers, I'm watching them, and multitasking, getting on Second Life, just chilling. And then I started getting spasms, little triggers here and there, using my breath, my breathing to calm my body down. And then it started getting to a point where I started needing help as far as breaking the spasm. And I'm already disappointed because I'm like, man, I was supposed to have figured this out while I was at the facility. I'm telling myself this. And so I'm beating my own self up. And I got to the point where I needed more and more help. And I'm one specific day, my body just wouldn't act right. And so that same day I went ahead and got bowel care, and I had a nice size bowel movement. And me and the family was thinking, okay, well, that's what I needed, to get cleaned out real good. And I ended up having a bowel movement the very next day. So we're like, yeah. So they decided to cut out spasms and, I'm trying to say, I wasn't able to breathe as freely as I wanted. And so, we figured that was because of the bowel movement. And we was thinking, okay, I should be able to start breathing at ease. And it didn't work. The very next day, I was back at it. And so at this time, this is a moment where if you have family helping you, or if you got agencies helping you, they're going to naturally be like, the fuck is this? You're supposed to be free from this shit. You weren't supposed to come home having to go through this shit like this. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, no shit, that's what I was thinking. But can't talk like that because, that's kind of like arguing. It's kind of like talking, not staying on the topic. I mean, it's like that's not the point of the conversation. And so I'm having to go through, the physical part of it. I'm having to go through my own thoughts of it. I have to go through, the thoughts of my family. And I'm like, man, this is not what I came home for. This is not what I wanted to come home to. And I was like, before I even left, I was thinking about this day. Being at home and, one, successful healing and everything is chill, except for one or two things, which will spark up, the moments where we gotta go back and forth about the situation. And then two, it's like, okay, coming back home and not having these situations resolved. So it's like, man, this is some bullshit. Okay, now we're gonna come up to the present tense, and it is like Thursday, Thursday the 2nd. I think it's Thursday the 2nd. And I needed to come to the hospital because I had shortness of breath and I wasn't able to get my breath. And it happened like all of a sudden. Usually whenever I would have a problem, we changed positions and that was it. And so with the sores being on my right side, we had spent the week, with me off of my sores. And it's like to be back on my sores was like, the fuck is going on? And so I ended up coming to the hospital. And come to find out that I got a damn UTI and pneumonia in my right rib. it ain't one thing, it's another. And gotta get my oxygen placed back in. And so it's like, this is some bullshit. You know, out of everything that I could be accused of doing, this is the one thing that I didn't do that had me in trouble. And I want to keep my fingers crossed because I'm not out of the woods yet. You know, I gotta go through this phase, and I gotta get to a point where if I do go back home, you know, it's not gonna be with the same issues. So it's crazy, man. It is, but it's life. And you know, it's all about, you know, enjoying life through the sickness or through health. You know what I mean? You're married to yourself, and care about everybody else. When it gets to the point where when your words are not effective, you know what I mean? And they could be used against you. And you know what I'm saying? You know, out of all the things that I've said, all the times I've tried to, you know, submit my emotions, it gets thrown back on my face as, you know, some bullshit. And, you know, that's not the way that I show it. You know, it's like, it's a seesaw, but it's life. You know, for anybody that talks to me on that level, you know, they're not leaving me out in the cold. They're not leaving me all fucked up. And so, you know, it's like, okay, well, they're going to express the way they're going to express their thoughts. And all I can do is respect it, you know, and try to improve. And it's like when you're in a partnership with somebody, you know, you got to remember that they could leave if they wanted to. But for the fact that they stay around, it means a whole lot more, because it's like, yo, that means they're going to stick with you. And if they get upset, then they deserve every right to voice their opinions. You know, when you're able to be with someone or have someone in your life that you purposely allow them to talk the way they talk, it was a whole lot different than when you just settling with somebody. Because when you settling with somebody, you know that it could end and you go your separate ways. You're going to be all right. You'll get somebody else in your life. But when you come across that person where you're like, man, I'm not trying to go nowhere, and my life would be fucked up if they wasn't in my life. And you know it's real shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not this hypothetical shit. It's real shit. You know, when you come across that person right there, you'll know. You'll know. And so, all I can say is there's lessons to learn, and there's lessons that you can share with other people. And I'll get on this topic another day. All I can say is, you know, I'm back in the hospital. You know, I'm getting treated for pneumonia on my right lung and UTI. And it's like, you know, another hurdle. You know what I mean? I don't know how long I'll be here yet. I can only think of 2 or 3 days at the most. But I haven't really talked to anybody. And the weekend's coming up. Tomorrow's going to be Friday. So I doubt if they give me a boot throughout the weekend. And I wouldn't allow them to, because I need to get followed up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, even after I get finished with my medications and all that shit, they need to follow up so that way they're not just practicing medications or, practicing medicine on me. They'll be able to see that I'll be going home successfully. You know what I mean? But I'll keep posting my videos. We'll keep recording. And I hope that you keep returning. And, continue this journey that I have going on. It's not just the videos that I have been posting, where I'm not on the camera. It's the whole idea that this is about growth. And I'm doing my part as far as helping out society. This is not a race thing, because there's so many people from different races that are in situations that I'm in. And if I'm able to reach them through my videos at any point in our lives, then hopefully that, they'll see they're not alone. And that throughout it all, we can't be down. We can't be depressed. Can't sit back and let negative words enter our spirits. And we can't it's like if it doesn't exist, then it can't come out because it just don't exist. You know what I mean? If you got negativity in your body, it's gonna come out in your pores. It's gonna come out in your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna come out. We can't keep everything in. Everything is not meant to stay in our bodies. Impurities are meant to come out of our bodies, come out of our essence, or we're gonna die. You know what I'm saying? A horrible death. Some people learn it the hard way. But it's all about growth. That's why, for everybody that watches the video, I'm trying to plant a positive seed. So that way, a person can walk away from my video and be like, if he could do it, then I could do it. You know what I mean? And they can share that with other people. Because my disclaimer is, I'm not the smartest person, and I'm not the dumbest person in the world. I've done my research on some things, and there's things out there that I can't trust as a resource. And speaking of research, I was asking my computer, how can the quadriplegic, have shortness of breath? And I asked that question like 4 or 5 different ways. And, I kept getting some of the same responses. And on the last response, it hit me with all caps. I'm like, damn, this computer is hitting me with some attitude. I'm just trying to research an answer, a question, and the damn thing hit me with all caps. It's crazy. But anyway, what I need you to do is to question everything that I'm talking about. I need you to do your own research on the things that I'm talking about. And I need you to form your own opinion. One of the most important things is to share your opinion with other people. Because you never know when there's someone out there, or if there's someone out there that's in a similar situation that you're in, and they feel alone. Because no matter how they think about it, or who they try to talk to, someone is not agreeing. And whenever they come across somebody who agrees, they're like, man, I thought I was going crazy. I thought I was the only one that was thinking this. And you come to find out that there's other people, who are on the same vibe. it doesn't cost anything to get a YouTube channel. You don't have to do a face reveal. All you gotta do is get you some cheap equipment and post your voice, post your thoughts. You know what I mean? And if you want views, just keep posting. You know, your view count, subscription count, all that will come in time. You know what I mean? You never know when you'll have a video that goes viral. You never know. So some people, they rack their brains, and you know, they are just built to succeed in ways like that. But me, it's slowly but surely. I got a whole life of posting that I want to do, and I don't want to have commercials going through my videos, disturbing the people that's going to watch my videos. I think it sucks, because I don't like watching it, watching commercials whenever I'm on somebody else's channel. You know what I'm saying? When I'm watching someone else's channel. So I don't want to put anybody through that that's watching my channel. So anyway, you know, there's a lot of things that I've left out of my videos. But if you got questions, you know, hit me up and ask your questions. You know, I do Q&A, things like that. You go to my Instagram, you know, and hit me up on the gram. It's pod.rey, podrey. That is pod.rey, podrey, on Instagram. And it'll give you a link to lead you back to my YouTube channel, Growing with Podrey. But you can leave me a message on Instagram, you know what I mean, and we can link up and ask your questions, you know what I mean. And if you want me to, you know, make a video with your question, then I'll do that. Give you a shout out or keep you unanimous, you know what I mean. But I'm gonna get off here. My battery's getting low, and I'm gonna rest up. Alright, so thank you for coming through. Come on back for the next video. You have a good day. You have a good night. You have a good morning. Peace.
Life has a tricky way of making you feel like you can't make it. You can start out doing so well, and then things hit you when you start to waver. You start to stumble. You start to sway. Your steps get a little shorter. But if you can manage to muscle up enough strength to keep putting one foot in front of the other, it might not look well. You may have to do it ugly. But what I want you to do is continue to do it.